started. I give gratitude on behalf of not Derek, on behalf of not Pleiades, but Source itself, for these many souls in attendance to receive the teachings of Source, to receive information that is potentially contextual for their growth, for coming to a space, spending the time, energy, money, resources, whatever it may be, to prioritize your development, to come to a beautiful space like this, to facilitate the healing of yourself, for those around you, for the planet, for the galaxy, for all. As we develop ourselves, we progress the evolution of all of existence, and everyone here plays a crucial role in that. Scale is not linear. Every one of us is the entire universe. It's not little old me. Out of the whole big universe, I'm just a speck in the cosmic disk. We are the entire universe. What we do within our own selves impacts and ripples throughout all of existence. So the work that we are doing here, the work that we are continuing to do throughout all of the infinite timelines that we are progressing this work, it's doing things that we're only going to see the manifestations of. Like, by the time we witness what we've done, we're going to be so mind blown, because it's going to happen exponentially. And I honor all of you for being here for yourselves, for being here for one another, for receiving, for being open, for having sovereignty, purity, strength, endurance, intelligence, love, honor, trust, wisdom, knowledge. All of these characteristics which all of us embody, I recognize and I salute. The divinity within me recognizes and salutes the divinity within you. Before we begin, I'm sure you've noticed by the incense, marked them by the smoke, so if you don't know where it is, you watch the smoke, there's a crystal, and there's business cards, just so, I want to get everyone's phone number, but like just in case type stuff, because like last time I know there's a couple people, like tomorrow we're all going to be doing 7,000 things. I'm pretty sure we got to be out by 11, something like that. So like, in case, you can send me an Instagram, and then we could get each other's phone number like that. I have my Instagram on there, phone number, website, all that type of stuff. If you go on my website, within a week, it's going to be fully updated. If you go on a desktop right now, you could look at it. But on the mobile version, it's under construction. It'll be done in a week. And you can see all the gatherings I do beyond Source. And then also I wrote on that little paper about the S.O.U.R.C.E Gathering that is going to be on August 29th. It's on a Saturday. It's all day from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's going to hold space for, I was talking about it earlier, sound healing. White Light's going to be there doing sound healing.
Where are we? Where is that?
It's going to be at Baker Park in New Brunswick. It's on the paper and everything. All the details on the paper. And also the Instagram is circled on both of the papers. It's just S.O.U.R.C.E Gathering. And follow the Instagram. We post updates and all types of stuff like that. And yeah, if y'all resonate, it's completely free. You just show up. It's just a big park full of literal Source love. It's really euphoric. So if you feel called, if you also feel called to provide a service, we have on the website right now, you can submit an application to be I still got to update the vendor one, but you can be a volunteer, or you can be a service provider or a performer. So if you have literally anything, it's a little application where it gives you options, but there's also an other. Literally anything that comes from Source, that comes from the heart chakra. Even if we don't have it listed, there's an other thing, whatever it is you want. If it's from a heart space, we're here to hold space for it. We're not just here to, it's a reciprocal. We give, and then the community gives, and that's how everyone has something. Everyone period, has something beautiful to share with the world. And our among many things, we're just trying to build the new world for the future communities. We're also very focused on providing the platform for those that are upcoming to also become leaders and also take that platform and also take those steps in alignment to be a guardian, essentially, and to step in alignment with like pursuing their passion and pursuing their purpose to facilitate this new world. So if any of that calls out to you, you could just talk to me directly. Me and my brother Sadi are the ones who orchestrated. Some of y'all may be familiar with him. He came to the last one and performed with us. And that's about it, about S.O.U.R.C E. And we can begin. So before we begin, the alms was just to activate the space. And now it's to activate ourselves. We're going to be doing the same one as last time if you're at the last one. It's Ong Namo Gurundev Namo. If you like, you can just listen. You can just receive. If you place your awareness on the chanting, even if you internalize it, you don't have to say it. You're still activating the energy of the vibration within you. So you don't have to say it out loud to activate it. And Ong Namo Gurundev Namo essentially translates to I bow to the infinite creative wisdom and potential within me that is also within all living beings. I know it's a big translation, but like it's essentially opening us up to receiving source. Because a big theme of like I'm glad that everyone during this retreat is bringing this up, that like take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is just source, and as much work that I've done to purify myself, I am still operating through the construct of an ego right now. So there is an element of distortion that is coming between source and you. So allow your intuition to be the discernment. And I'm pretty sure everyone here is familiar with that. I just wanted to, it needs to be said. So, the mantra. So, yeah. So if y'all want to just, straighten your backs, get comfy, do whatever you do. And, palms face up, open to receive. Nice and, and don't keep your palms just like limp in your, like, what I'm saying? Like actually have intention behind them. Place your awareness within your palms so that you can activate the reception. So we're going to take a nice full exhalation to begin. Om Namo 1, and breathe in now. Breathe in. Two more times. Ong Namo. take a deep inhalation, hold it at the top, focusing on the feeling of gratitude in your heart center. Merging this new awareness with our persona, with our ego, with our personality, with our self. We just experienced source. Now we integrate that to allow our ego and our individualized self to operate from this perspective, to fully receive this information, to fully receive the energy behind the information, and to receive the intuitive discernment towards what is in alignment with our path. Ashe. So this workshop is tips for ascension. It's building off of the last workshop I did at the last UHA, which, as you know, synchronicities work, you know, y'all covered a good amount of ascension mechanics yesterday. Like a good amount of what they talked about yesterday. There was a lot of parallels with the information I shared at the last retreat. So this is basically taking that information and giving a more grounded, okay, now that we know all this galactic alien shit, what are we gonna do about it, and what frame of reference, and what practical things, you know what I'm saying, tips, and just giving a more general outline and stuff like that. And also will mention, this is a PDF I have of it. I couldn't hand them out this time. Last time I did, some Staples problems, but definitely on the email, I'm going to send out a PDF, the UHA email that they sent out with all of the documents and stuff like that. I'm just going to use that same thread, so everyone here is already plugged into that. And if you want me to personally send you one or something like that, just come up to me and just we'll figure that out if you want this information. And also if you want the outline on the last one, which like I said, a lot of the information I talked about is a lot of the information they talked about yesterday. So if you want to understand more about what they were talking about, ask me for the outline of the last one, and I can send you that as well. But I'm not going to send that to everyone, just let me know if you actually want to read it. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. Yeah, so 5:30, let's go. So essentially, like I said, may it be made clear that I said this is tips for ascension. This is not, there are no steps to healing. There are no steps to ascension. There are no steps to evolution. There is an individual path for each individual. So actually I spoke wrong. There is no step by step for ascension. There is steps plural, meaning there's different paths for each individual. So essentially, this information, like I said, can serve to be contextually relevant. You might go through your ascension journey, full on out of body, you leave your body, come back, and then you tell everyone what it is. You tell him exactly what it is that you did, and then some of that might not align for where he's at in his journey. And then some of what he's going through might not align with you when you were on your journey. Right. Everyone has their own unique journey because of the fact that there is a lot of things prior to us incarnating that, quite frankly, that's a whole tangent to get into. So, yeah, so basically this is some background of ascension. This is actually something I found from a channeled teaching recently that, like I said, take what resonates, leave what does not. But this is some context behind the modern ascension and the modern plan and the modern shifting planet. So this, essentially in 1987, a unique event happened to our planet, which facilitated a large catalyst for the ascension, which is known as the harmonic convergence. And essentially, it's also later known as the 1111. So that's also where a lot of like there's a lot more to 1111 than that, but that's one more thing added on to why that number is so synchronistic. Essentially what happened was the Earth reached a point where it was spiritually neutral. So it can go in either direction. Where it was going prior to 1987 was like the revelations, like apocalyptic world is going to end like timeline. Like that whole corruption, New World Order, all that stuff was taking full effect. Up until 1987 where it was complete spiritual neutrality. So, what did you say? 987. 987.
It's interesting because it was like the digression of that. So 1987, 987.
Ooh, powerful. Powerful. And also, I'm glad that you chimed in right there. I also want to this is a workshop, not a lecture. So like, like if y'all want to chime in, y'all want to ask anything, especially questions, like this is fluid. To the best that I can, I'm going to try to ensure that this information is like, clear. I use a lot of words sometimes. So like if you need clarity, just be like, yo, dude, like simplify, like for real. Like I recognize that. And
will you touch on the most recent harmonic convergence?
It was this. Yeah, this was the last one. And so essentially we could have taken the old timeline or a new timeline. And in a process that is, I don't even understand it enough to, I don't think that we can really understand it. All of the higher selves affiliated with the system of Earth were pulled. That means all individuals, all souls that were interwoven within the system of Earth that ever were here, that are here, and that potentially ever will be here, all were pulled to basically be like, this is where the Earth is. It's at neutrality. Do you wish to allow it to go into where it will be if you do nothing? Or do you wish to implement action to basically bring into fruition what the ancestors and the elders said was coming? And that's the ascension. And the progression of a new Earth, living in harmony, prosperity, all these types of things. So, and this was outside of our linear time, by the way. So this isn't like the mirror dimension, pretty much, like of Doctor Strange. And obviously their choice was that they wanted to do the ascension. That's why we're all here. So, and like as a result of it, were you gonna say something?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought
you felt nah.
Word.
You got it.
Yeah, but as a result of this, I won't go too much into it, but like there's a lot of like world events that drastically changed a couple years after this event supposedly happened. Like, a whole bunch of the world leaders, like all of a sudden just switched the way that they were going about war tactics and going about like diplomacy and all that stuff in general. And like a whole bunch of like really big shifts happened in the world. The whole like the Cold War that was like bringing the whole world in fear for like 50 years, just like all of a sudden just like was no longer a thing within like a couple years after this event. Like there's a lot of like I don't even know how, I didn't do too much research on that stuff, but there is, if you want to do your own. Like there's a lot of really interesting synchronicities right after. Go ahead.
I can add a little bit here.
Of course.
Just to give a little more contextualized. So you said it happened in mirror dimension.
To describe it, like
it really did. Like this is where we cross over with the Guardian teachings is harmonic convergence. A different harmonic was added to the morphogenetic field of planet Earth, of humanity. It was literally like there was enough vibrant souls, Christic beings on the planet to anchor in those codes to get like really the sphere of Amenti activated again back into Earth, and then that's like, all right, they did it. Okay, they did enough. All we had to do was like a little tiny bit in order to make harmonic convergence like a thing. And so this is why like all the leaders started to like, because literally the energy changed.
It's just the light, the light beings. Essentially, what they did was like when that call was put out. This is like if you're familiar with the teachings of Dolores Cannon, she talks about in the 3 waves of initiates the call that went out to all the light workers and stuff like that. Like basically there was a call. This is the call, the harmonic convergence. They basically okay, what are you going to do about it? They're like, okay, I'm going to go incarnate, multiply that by like a whole bunch, and now we got like light beings in the room, you know what I'm saying, a couple of decades after that. And that's essentially what happened. They incarnated to implement light. And like each one of our paths, like I said, is unique and different. All of us do like different expressions. Like Chris and I were talking yesterday, like anything that we do that channels source through our creative expression is icing on the cake. Implementing and anchoring in the frequencies is literally all that we need to do. Just doing the work to allow yourself to embody this state of being is the work for ascension. Anything else is icing on the cake. You don't have to sit in front of people and talk about this information or write a book or do a retreat or, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all whatever is in alignment with your path. What I will say is that does come like hand in hand with like your passion and your purpose. And like in terms of your individual path, like despite the ascension process, your individual healing journey, getting in tune with your passion and getting in tune with what it is, that creative expression, that channel source that aligns with you, that's for your personal like alignment. That's going to guide you towards your healing, the directions of your life that bring you abundance, that bring you happiness, that bring you pure joy and stuff like that. That's more like a personal thing. That's more of an individual level. And then obviously as you heal yourself, you're going to heal other people as well. So
Can I say something?
Of course.
I have like had a clear vision of being like getting the call that went out and like saying, okay, I'll volunteer. Like I have a clear.
She just said to me earlier that she was a volunteer soul.
We all were.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that in.
That's crazy you remember that. Did you remember it via like a random flashback? Was it a dream memory? Was it hypnosis?
It was just, I don't know. You know, one day I just kind of was like, man, I have never been here before and I'm a volunteer and I'm here to anchor in new technologies. It was just, once I started doing the deep healing work. So
that's powerful. Yeah, it's just residual memory recollection. Like, you know, this is total tangent I'm not going to elaborate on, but like basically there's this whole, the deep state and stuff like that, the deep space program, they have this 2020 and back where they basically, you do 20 years in a whole like secret space program shit where you're going to Mars and different galaxies and different planets and killing people and doing all types of deep reptilian evil shit. And then you serve for 20 years. They age regress you, wipe your memory, and send you back to your original timeline. I'm not going into this is a different workshop, but like, and then like those people that have that happen, like 20 years later, the memories start to come back. I'm not saying that you were in that program, but I'm saying that that's kind of how it works. That these memory is always retained in your soul. Right. You always have access to it. It will residually come up. That's why essentially like when these physical bodies kick the bucket and we, you know, go into the astral, the longer we spend in that in-between state, in between lives, all of the memories from all of our past lives will come to us. Right. And that's also happening here. We're just on a lower frequency, so it takes longer. Right. It takes time at all, you know.
And you can access your past life. You don't need to go see. I mean, you can go see someone, but you can literally just
absolutely.
You can literally just say, "Who was I in a past life?" in a deep state of meditation, or falling asleep, having that be the last thought you focus on, and you're pulling it literally out of your subconscious. You're pulling it out of really your soul. Your soul's like, "Oh, okay, you've been waiting for this," and like, so you quite literally are your source.
Yep. Exactly.
Like,
all
you
it is.
Really have it. All the past life stuff is like chilling.
All everything.
Dreams, yeah.
The Akash is within your hands. You just need to access the stillness. That's all it is. Stillness and silence.
So the reason I asked is there's multiple sources. Speaking of a 2020 convergence that happened between July 5th and 14th, I was invited by multiple friends too, and I'm just seeing documentaries about it. So I'm wondering what the awareness of the 2020 convergence is. Then a little bit of searching into it, looks like there's a start of a new fifth resonant pattern called the Pentacle Code of Life, which has to do with Venus. Then it goes into the fractals, the sacred numerologies, and a new 8-year cycle that is to be explored.
Are you talking about that massive meditation that came through and the harmonic convergence in 2020?
Something like that.
It's possible, but they also could have just used the lingo.
That's what I mean, like, I'm not personally familiar with that specific event, although I I am sure that in my subconscious somewhere I've seen a flyer on Instagram or something about the harmonic convergence of this year. I do feel like it has to do with the meditations, and regardless, this is the real 2012. Like, we're in the real time of we're in biblical times now. The calendars are wrong. We're in this is 2012, 2020. So like that's most likely like just the shift of the equinox alone is enough to be categorized, in my opinion, as like an event. Well, not in my opinion. I don't know if it brought it into neutrality or not. To answer your question, I'm not fully familiar with that specific harmonic convergence. However, I would not be surprised if it was.
They say it has something to do with.
I think they use the lingo because we're not neutral. We're in the path of new Earth. Like, it's already happened.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so I'm not sure where. I would have to look more into that. I'm not familiar with that.
95% sure they just piggybacked on the lingo.
That's what it's a big event. Harmonic convergence sounds cool. I would advertise something if I was doing an event. Like
the page Unify advertised about like millions of people saw this advertisement.
Yeah.
So I mean, remember what we talked about yesterday. Like, have discernment to things that become popularized through media, because that shit is tainted.
Tis true.
Exactly what we were talking about. Like, that whole event was like with the intention to make contact. Like, have everyone meditate, everyone like, reach out to the stars, which that's great, and I actually teach that individually as a social, like, really want to do it, but I kind of get a little
The Unify there was a lot of
like
things behind the scenes of that.
Yeah, like a big push, like, why is you guys trying so hard?
Yeah.
Like, what's up?
Yeah,
What's
that's
up?
true.
Like, where's your intention at?
Yeah. So that hopefully answers Sachin's question, is that harmonic convergence, and they'll use the pure energy of a pure intent in a system like this to twist it a little bit to get a lot. So
Yeah, absolutely.
The research I'm getting is pointing in that exact direction.
Taking advantage of
Exactly. 'Cause it's a completely
people's
different thing than
willingness to jump onto something that they think is good.
Without it even thinking about it.
I feel as if that was what it was. Go ahead, finish.
And they'll put it's like we need to be really careful in our discernment of what, and be very, very specific in observing what might be promoting separation.
Yes, exactly. Especially things with especially that unity thing, because like my personal thing with the unity was a mix of both. I don't think it was this evil occult thing. I think that it was a very positive thing that was also influenced by the evil occult things. I feel like there was a lot of people behind it, because like at the end of the day, like I've like had communications with some of the spirits, like Deepak Chopra and like the person behind Spirit Science and stuff like that. They were all there, and they were like I didn't do the unity thing, so I'm pretty sure I remember seeing the advertisement. I think that Deepak Chopra did like a workshop or something where he was something. So like certain individuals who truly are light workers were there. So there was light anchoring in with that, but there was also like, basically finding a discernment within yourself. There was definitely like a tainting and distortion within it. Whenever things get that large, it's very common to see distortion happen. You have to really set extremely strong foundations to eliminate distortion when you are multiplying and scaling up whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah, so to get into like so before we even get into the workshop, that was just the intro, is like what is truth? What is truth? This is gotta talk about this, So like I found a really good definition of truth that resonated with me, and I would love to share with y'all. And that is essentially, truth is marrying one's heart to the passion of God to create discovery, an acknowledgement of a personal search without knowing anything more, a willingness with free choice to explore the divinity inside. And then a quote by Jiddu Krishnamurti. Yeah, I never pronounce his name right, but I love his work. Like, yeah, truth is a living thing. If you try to grasp it, it'll slip out of your hands. That's really what truth is. You don't try to attach to truth. You just use it for what it's needing to be used for in that moment, and don't attach to it, because what is this besides an abstraction of what you actually are? And yeah, it's for this reason that there can never be one truth. Everyone technically has their own truth, because, based off that definition alone, truth is basically your relationship with God or source or the universe. What you channel through the universe becomes truth. And like I said when I started this, I'm channeling the universe through the distortion of my ego complex. So as intentional as I am being, even even if I'm saying exactly what it's saying, it's still going through a medium.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So each and every source of truth is going to be different, because we all have every single one of us are unique in our own way. There will never be able to be a carbon copy of our souls and our incarnation and the bodies we chose to take on, and the personas and the thoughts and everything that creates us, our ego construct. It's unique. So truth is unique. So that is why, I feel like I could brush over this, because I feel like it has been touched up a lot on, everyone here is pretty familiar with not attaching to truth, you know what I'm saying? Just being open and stuff like that. But I definitely did feel like it was relevant to call that in. So also, this is 6 totems of Ascension, just for the word, I couldn't think of a better one. 6 this is these are tips, you know what I'm saying? These are just tips to kind of navigate. Like I said, this isn't you do first totem, then you do, this isn't the 6, the 12 steps in AA or something like that, where you just follow all this stuff and then it brings you to the end. This is just unique, and it's just pretty, it's so general that it usually does resonate with most people. So the first one is make no assumptions on anything at all, because like Chris is talking about, we live in a whole distorted universe, and there's a whole bunch of distortion around everything, and the discernment is within spirit. So really making no assumptions is really how you're going to be able to receive more knowledge. Because if you're making assumptions on things, imagine just for an example, I just look at you and I'm like, you're a guy because you got a beard. And then me, you're like, you don't know what I'm rocking down there, bro. You don't need you know what I'm saying? Don't make an assumption, because I filled my cup so full with this man is of the gender that has a dick rather than the other. You know what I'm saying? If I'm you ever meet somebody who's so ingrained, and specifically people with religion or ideologies like that, they're so ingrained in their truth, don't matter how much truth you give them, don't matter how much it makes sense with logic and everything, they're not going to receive it, because their cup is full of that. They're keeping their cup full. So essentially the first totem is to keep your cup receptive. You don't have to keep it completely empty. You can acknowledge things, but view reality through child eyes, essentially. A child just everything is just blissful, they're just feeling everything. They're not thinking, they're not oh, you're this or that. Chris was talking about yesterday, I don't care what color, gender, race, age, what, they don't care. It's soul. I like your energy, I don't like your energy. I like your energy, I don't like your energy. That's all it is. It's just they're a source.
Right. A sense of innocent awe.
Exact. That's a good word for it. Innocent awe. Absolutely. So the second totem is essentially see yourself as part of the chaos. So, this whole distortion and all of this, all of the bubkiss that we see in the world is us. That's you. You don't need to separate from it. You don't need to get better than it and grow past it and transcend it. It is you. So this totem is to essentially recognize and come to terms with that's you. Even when someone comes up to you and breaks your heart or says something horrible to you or does something horrible to you, stabs you in the back, whatever, that's you. That's you.
And please, would you loving compassion, right, for those moments of because that hurts when people double cross us, whatever. It's man, I thought we were homies, but it's all right, I can still have this compassion. Doesn't mean you have to like it or quote accept it, but you acknowledge that it happened and you choose to respond to it from a place of understanding.
It's a balancing of that perspective and also self-worth. It's essentially understanding I ain't gonna let you keep hurting me. That ain't gonna happen, because I need to keep myself and my energy in check. But I'm not gonna resent you, because not only is that gonna detriment you, it's also gonna detriment me. So at the end of the day, if somebody does something like that to you, it's balancing that, managing both perspectives, not getting so caught up in you're let's say with the self-worth thing. Let's say, for example, 2 people in a relationship, one person cheats on the other, right? The person who got cheated on, they're nah, fuck you, you're out of my life, I know my worth, get the fuck out this, you know what I'm saying? That type of energy. It's they know their worth, but they're not balancing it with the perspective that Chris was talking about, understanding that is you. Understanding that the only reason that anyone hurts anyone else is because hurt people. Yeah. And what that is even more fundamentally is detachment from source, like we were talking about yesterday. Like the only reason that anyone inflicts any pain or any harm or any disharmony is because they are in disharmony with source. So they are a fractalized version of source that just aren't in tune with just God and the universe. So the third one is, don't be afraid to jump into it. Recognize that you are the chaos and don't be afraid to jump into it. Like, I was just talking about with the shadow work. Like, it's not like this, like, it's like, that's you. Learn it. It's a vaster spectrum of the understanding that we came here to integrate. So that's like, because remaining fearful in chaos is going to prevent you from integrating the lessons it has within it. Because all chaos, disharmony, discord, pain, being stabbed in the back, all of that has tremendous potential to grow. Usually, the reason why, I don't want to get too much into this, talking about the Totems right now, but the reason why Earth is so, one of the reasons why Earth is such a, and this density and dimension specifically is such a hot spot for souls to incarnate, to grow very quickly, it's because of how much suffering is here, yo. There is so much suffering here. Out of all the dimensions, the suffering here is actually the highest. Not just on Earth, this dimension. It's the most suffering here. And what does that mean? You might be like, yo, I was a soul that chose to come here. If I recognized that this place had the most suffering, why in the actual would I want to incarnate there? And that's because, go ahead.
One of the things that really struck me when I was uncovering this by myself was this idea that in order to transcend suffering, first you have to accept it.
Exactly. It's the first step to integrating it. You got to accept it. What he was saying, acknowledge that it happened, accept it, don't deny it, but accept it, and then integrate it, and then act from a space of loving awareness. Exactly. Understanding. Exactly. And
So you were at is because, and then
it's because yes, the reason why there's so much suffering and why that's a good thing and not a bad thing, and why you'd want to incarnate into that, is because it compresses the time duration required for lessons for growth. So whereas in a place with little suffering, it might take say 1 million years to take an individual here maybe 10 years to go through that. And it's the whole point of the universe. When you get past we're in the lower harmonics, yo. When you get into the higher harmonics, literally all that they exist as is to basically for them to get to the next level. It's really this goes into Law of One teachings, if y'all are familiar with that. Service to self or service to others. It's basically, you can think of it as service to self is negative, detrimental. Service to others is positive, giving and stuff like that. And when you are in the service to others path and you are ascending into the higher frequencies, the only way to really get in the really higher frequencies is just keep doing service to others. To keep on serving your past, your not even past, your other selves. Time is all corresponded within the same moment, or coexisting within the same moment. So they look to do, they're yo, I'm out here helping, I'm doing all the, I'm doing everything, but it's they're looking when you're you're a multidimensional being with no physical limitations or anything like that, you could really manifest anything. You're going to create this whole structure to, like I said, make the time between lessons shorter, so that when you help others grow, you gain polarity that allows you to increase in your vibration, that brings you closer to source and perpetuates your evolution, and therefore the evolution of everything. That's the third totem. Well, that was a tangent correspondent to the third totem, but this is the fourth totem, which is trust and follow your first instinct, aka the intuition. So this is your gut feeling. This is what comes out. I'm pretty sure I don't got to spend too much time on this. Pretty much everyone here is in tune with that to even align you with a trippy place like this, but it's for real. But yeah, it's essentially our intuition is a direct line with source and with our higher self, which, like Chris was saying, is our self now, not our future self, our now self. Yes, in our earth time, that's technically in the future, but where it exists, time is not linear. Time is only linear as a perspective that we are in. Space and time are consequences of the vibration we are in. Space and time go hand in hand. The only reason we witness them is because they are a perception of the vibrational plane that we are currently inhabiting. So in that plane, time don't exist. It's able to transmit information to you right now, all the time. It currently is. Every single one of you, your higher selves are speaking to you right now. It's just a matter of you're picking up the phone. Right. Most of us, 99% of our lives, have our phone on silent. And then we have these like euphoric moments in meditation, or like with plant medicine, or like with hypnosis, or like with like all these different modalities that'll bring you into these altered states. And then like you might have this moment where you're like, okay, I finally picked up the phone for once. And then once you pick up the phone, you're like, okay, there is a phone to even pick up. Now I can like, recognize that. And now it's like, okay, each time you pick up the phone, it gets a little bit like more, have more affinity to it. What? Exactly, that trust muscle. That goes hand in hand with the intuition. That may have been another totem, actually. I keep saying totem, but no, that actually goes hand. Yeah, it said trust and follow your first instincts. Yeah, basically your intuition, like you're gonna be getting information, and like I said, it's coming through the medium of your mind to even have a concept to articulate it. So like everything that you're getting from these these higher realms, the intuition, the higher, all this stuff is still going through the abstraction of concepts. Concepts is not the eternal reality. So when you are receiving this intuitive knowledge, especially when you're first beginning, it's very easy to be like, yo, I'm making this shit up. This ain't really coming from my higher self. This is just coming from a part of me that could just...
Imagination, people say that.
Exactly.
They dismiss it.
Yeah, exactly. Not even knowing that their imagination is an actual like nation that you imagined into creation, and it's like real. It's an actual plane of, it's a real plane. So the fifth totem is that there must be action to fulfill any manifestation. So I'm pretty sure all of us here are familiar with the law of attraction, manifesting. You create your own reality type of deal. This is essentially being like, you can't just sit on your couch and be like, yo, I'm a millionaire, the law of attraction works, so I don't gotta do anything. It's like integrating that with the action, because basically, like I was saying with the imagination is a real place. It's just higher in frequency than this. Anything that exists physically in matter was once a thought, meaning it existed in a higher realm and then was translated into this realm of vibration for us to experience. How did that happen? If we are in the third dimension, right? And let's say this is in like the fifth dimension, the realm of imagination, right? The fifth dimension, as you get higher, you get less dense, meaning more light. And as you get more dense, you get more heavy. So the third dimension is heavier than, for just terminology, is loose, but like heavier than the fifth dimension. So imagine if you have like a feather trying to like go into the realm of like bowling balls or something, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna, that feather ain't gonna have a great time going down those dimensions. So like it needs energy. It needs something to propel it. Us going to the higher dimensions, it's not as much resistance. But the higher dimensions coming down to the lower dimensions, that's why so many people, I think it was Angelica last time at the last retreat, how she was saying when she came into recognition of her past life and like who she, Starlight. She was like, yo, when I first realized that, Earth is scary, Earth is dense, Earth is like hard, Earth is like, is miserable. It's like all that type of stuff. A lot of people, especially awakening star seeds that are currently having like DNA activations like crazy recently, are experiencing things like this where they are, they're disoriented because where their soul was for most of their like existence is like so much more light in terms of vibration. So them coming into the dense realm, they're literally like losing their shit. That's why you see people that are awakening that seem to be mad in psychiatric hospitals getting drugged and all types of things like that. Those are actually the awakening star seeds. Usually give them a couple years. Those are going to be the ones like doing something like this, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't too far from that, like and like this.
Last week I was
Bro, it's fluctuating, man. It's like you never like the path to ascension isn't this. It's like the stock market. It's just like rising, you know what I'm saying? Like it's rising, but it's like this up down, up down, up down, up down, up down. But when you scope out, take your factor out, increase your scope of perspective, it's going up gradually. But when you're looking at it from a small frame of perspective, it seems like everything's chaotic. My whole path is just bullshit. But like, if you look at like, say, like take like 10 years of your life and see like, have you grown from 10 to like, like, did you devolve? So like, everyone's like, yo, I don't feel like I'm stagnant, I'm not growing. I'm like, yo, you're just looking at it from a limited frame of perspective, which is like, okay, you know, it's a human, that's where morality comes into play. You understand that perspective, but it's also like offering the other perspective to be able to recognize that.
Can I say a note about dropping those vibrations into this density?
I'm gonna just say for everyone else, don't ask.
Okay,
Like if you could like, the answer is always yes, like share.
Right. He's like, no, honestly, don't. Do it again, you're out.
Sometimes with you, bro, I might have to make an exception.
I was gonna say,
Like-
because I'll keep going, and you just, because it's so activating, and you're a generator, I'm a generator, and just be this. Anyways, to bring that point home about like bringing the feather down, if you focus on the feather in your imagination, the feather feels, that's the energy, that's the vibration. The feather's always here, it always has been. And now you're recognizing the feather, and the feather can feel you. What you are seeking is seeking you. And just that acknowledgement of the feather in your imagination is the particle spin that brings it into this density. Every single thing is a crystallized thought. So what you think is already here. It's already here. So your focus, that's why we do these meditations, your focus is the key to bring it into this plane of existence. And you do it once, twice, you're gonna be like, boom, 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 like, yeah, that. It's gonna be it happens super quick. So
You get into a flow with it.
you get into
Like
flow.
with the higher self thing, like, you know, when you start to do these things, it's really like taking those steps. And also, like you were saying, like trusting. You know what I'm saying? If this information resonates, not because I seem to know what I'm saying and it makes sense intellectually, but you've actually sat with this information and it resonates with your soul, then you can have a frame of reference that although you didn't have this experience, like for example, moving your chi. If you're just like a real dense individual or just haven't done that before or not attuned to that, not sensitive to it, when you first try to do that, you know, you're going to do all the things that a master might be doing, but you're not feeling the same things. So there is an element of belief and trust based off of the backup of your intuition, not intellectual context. Intuitive information, allowing that to be like, all right, this information really resonates with my soul. I truly believe that this is the reality that I am inhabiting, and just like putting your belief in that. What do you have to lose, yo? What do you have to lose? Looking like a dumbass? Like, come on. It's pretty fun. It's good exercise and everything, like, you know, with literally everything. So, yes.
444.
Yeah,
Right
yeah. Yeah. She saw this one, you saw that one.
I just noticed.
Jinx.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It was on my GPS 444 at arrival here, 44 miles away at like 4 something. And then and it's funny you guys were talking about feathers. I'm just sitting back and thinking, you know, this blue jay, like I found this feather outside and I was literally in mid-thought about, wow, I'm like really picking up on a lot of energy of this feather. I'm glad that I put it in my ear. And as I'm finishing this thought, you're like, feather. And then you're like, let me just pick up on that feather real quick. And I'm like,
I just got this tattoo on my neck.
Oh my God, yo, that's.
This is telepathy, guys.
See, what it is all of us in this space are anchoring in a legitimate amount of light to be able to allow our consciousness to actually literally operate on a higher state. All of us here are operating within the energy that is like more conducive to the B12, you know, like the base 12. And this is it's a subtle thing that you may or may not, well, it's honestly not subtle with things like this. Like you probably feel like I feel high. Like I felt high the entire time I've been here and I'm dead sober physically. Like yeah, it's because just anchoring in all this light, and it allows things like that to happen. Synchronicities become more. All synchronicities are things that Source is orchestrating that you are witnessing and you're becoming aware of. So like when you start seeing 11, 11, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, it's not that they're happening to you more. It's not that you personally see. It's happening for you more. It's always been happening. You're just becoming more aware because you're attuning your vibration to that, and that's exactly what synchronicities are. Yes, it never gets old.
It used to freak me out though, because I'm like, what are they trying to tell me? You know what I mean? Like I was in that for a while.
Yeah, and the best thing I say.
No, it's just it's the path. It's like just an
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. It's just allowing that, like, each message you get is individualized to you. It's unique to you. That's I think I was saying it at some point yesterday. Like, you know, some people look it up on Google, which is totally cool. You know, that's good context. It's good. You know, it's relevant. Like, you know, all that type of stuff. You can take that with like a grain of salt. But like the true truth behind every message and synchronicity that you see, exactly the feeling behind it, what you get from your intuitive knowledge. So yeah, to kick it off with the totems, the last one is expect synchronicity.
What was the
Like I honestly forgot what like that's that's like we see you, we hear you, we feel you, you're present. Like I just want y'all to know that all those things I was lighting, I was calling in angelic beings, I was calling in ancestors, I was calling like there's a lot of beings in the room right now. Like that's also playing a part.
What was the fifth?
The fifth one was there must be action on your part to fulfill any manifestation.
That actually is good that you just reiterated that, because I had a message of hearing all this, it could seem like a lot, but we're downloading it. So when you go home, when you leave this space, remember that your channel, remember that you don't need to remember this, because it's, again, you absorbed it. So when you go into those areas that are familiar, like you go into your home, you're having conversations with your parents, or you're at work, the way to set that new energy is by remembering that this is you. What you're remembering here, you're in that space. It's a different environment, but it's still you. So call in your breath and call in that vibration. Remember this space, remember this room, drop that into this density, and then you can carry yourself differently in those environments.
Absolutely true. I'm so glad that you touched up on that, because I always set the intention to say that, but you know, many things come out. I always forget to say things, but like, you know, I'm spewing a lot. Like just the way that I talk and the content, you know, you don't if some of it goes over your head, it's not really. Like I said earlier, it's all in your soul. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to fully, like, one, there's a recording of all this stuff, so, you know, we good. And, like, two, like, you know, it's in your soul. Like, it's integrating. You know, as we leave, like, this workshop, this whole weekend, you know, this whole event, the amount of activations, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people here in this retreat that could say that they've never experienced anything like this in their entire life. Am I wrong? Like, it's this many light beings that are spewing so much source. And, you know, 4 days is a lot, but it's not a lot at the same exact time. And, like, an hour and a half is a lot, but it's definitely not a lot. It's not even a lot. But, like, you know, it's a lot. I'm grateful for it. But, like, you know, there's a lot of information. Yeah, I'm just trying to, like, I'm rapping. You know, I'm preparing for later. You know, I'm just, like. The sixth one is expect synchronicity. So, essentially, holding the expectation of synchronicity opens up what I call your energy funnel. So, like, you know, we need to just make a list of, like, we need to, like, have for future workshops, like, someone remember this, because I probably won't, like, have, like, a little clipboard of, like, synchronicities. And then, like, every time it'll just be in the middle of the room. And then every time someone experiences a synchronicity, they write it down. And at the end of it, we're like, this many mind-boggling things happened. And it's like, because it's seriously such a long list. At all the source gatherings we do, the synchronicities are ridiculous all the time. It is something to get you scared if you don't really understand it and stuff like that. But it's been happening for years. I've been seeing synchronicity in my personal life for like many years, and it never gets old. Every time someone tells me some mind fucking shit, they're like, "Oh, yo, I saw this number." I'm like, yo, it always sends those chills. You know, it always just like, oh, geez, like we really live in this world. Gosh, like this is crazy. But so now we're gonna go into how to participate in Ascension. So this is like, you know, some more tips. Those were like some basic totems for like perspective and stuff like that in terms of like navigating, like just navigating these waters, quite frankly, because they are some waters we are swimming in. And this is now how to specifically participate in the Ascension process. So first I begin with saying, I think I said this earlier, that there are no specific steps for Ascension. You know, there's no step-by-step thing that you can follow. These are just tips. And perhaps the simplest thing and the most powerful thing that you can do to assist in the Ascension is to ask the question, how may I be of service? setting that intention alone is rippling so much. What that's doing, you are feeling compassion for the planet. You are feeling compassion for the universe. You are feeling compassion for all of the reflections of yourself by even desiring to be of service. So by asking that question, within the vibration that you are asking it, you are calling in guidance. You are giving energetic consent to downloads, information, insights, directions on your next step. Everyone's journey is unique. I can't say that enough. So your individual journey is not something you could hear in a workshop. It's not something anyone or anything could ever tell you besides you. All that stuff is just context, and it's good. You know what I'm saying? It's helpful. But like at the end of the day, your specific journey, like let's say you're going through some family stuff at home, like, you know what I'm saying? You might go to a workshop about the Ascension, but they're not going to tell you how to deal with your mother and your girlfriend at your house or something like that, you know? Like it's all from within. So setting the intention and asking the question is like ineffably powerful. And that right there in and of itself is like the basic like thing that I tell people that are just trying to look for some type of direction is like reminding them that they have access to that, like Chris was saying earlier.
Those
And
questions are the most powerful thing.
yes, the intention. I mean, the questions are, and it's like and also I add is like adding them. I mean, asking them in the field of pure potentiality, asking them in meditation, asking them in stillness, because this is going to be how you actually like, essentially like, if you ask them in like right now, as like many of us might be still right now, we're like, I'll say like in our normal state, right? Typical like alpha brainwave state, you're like pretty chaotic, pretty distorted, pretty like woo 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 rather than woo woo woo. So if you're transmitting something out to the universe, you're saying like, I want this car, I want this person, I want this event, I want this abundance, I want the world peace, I want whatever it is that you're manifesting. If you're in a discord when you are sending that out, yeah, you'll send out the energy. Let's say you're like, you know, you're just like, yo, I really want $1 million. I want it so bad. I just want that money. And you're sending out that vibration. You are sending out the vibration. But because you're not in a state of stillness and you're not clear within yourself, it is distorted and interwoven with a whole bunch of like what you want to eat for dinner and like what your friend said to you earlier and like song lyrics and like all the things that go on in the normal brain that is just like just scattered. You know, clearing that to clear the transmission that you are sending, because if it's not clear when you're sending it, they're not going to know what it is that you want sent to you, so you can't receive it. So that goes into like how to ask that question, and then also your intentions. You're kind of touching upon this. Like your intention creates your dimension. Like your intentions are the key to everything. Like it's been another thing that I've been hearing like throughout the past couple days is like it's not really what you do, it's why you're doing it and how you feel doing it. Your intentions.
So when you said wants, right? Like when you sit there and you ask questions, and just tell me if you agree or not. It's like wanting. I don't want for. I am. I have.
Wanting is going to attract more lack. Because wanting is acknowledging that you don't currently have it, and when you manifest things, it's in the present tense because there only is the present tense. The past and the future are just concepts. So if you're like putting something in the future, it will always be in a concept and it won't be here. Does that make sense?
You're putting it away from yourself by separating yourself from it and saying I want it instead of I already have it.
Exactly. Exactly. You already have it. You become the vibration that you wish to attract. You don't wish for the vibration. You don't desire it. You don't like, you know, you become it. You
transcend desire altogether because you know that you have it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, and also just your intentions alone, that's going to emanate like onto those around you, you know, that's going to the fact that you are just like looking to be of service, like that vibration that you are emitting of like compassion for the planet. If you want, by the way, because I see you're taking notes, like the ones that I'm passing, you could like just peep. And passion makes the magic happen, right? So like I was saying earlier, passion really aligns you in with that source field. Passion is like the quickest shortcut, the quickest cheat code to just like navigating things in your intuition, abundance, blessings, happiness, contentness. All that stuff comes in with just being in tune with your passion, because your passion was so our emotions are direct line of information from our higher self. certain emotions correspond to different vibrations, correspond to different messages, correspond to different like nudgings, right? So like prior to incarnating, we had a soul evaluation. I'm not going to go into this, but there was at some point, you made the decision to have certain key elements of your life occur. There was this prophetic aspect to it at first. You laid down I'm not even going to use the word prophecy. I'm going to use the word blueprint. You set a blueprint down. You set a blueprint. I'm going to be born to these parents. When I'm 23, I'm going to get into a car crash, and then it's going to wake me up, and then I'm going to like stuff like that. And however, when we incarnate, there is free will. So that's not set in stone. So say you did say, I'm going to be 23 and then go into a car crash. Say something happens and then you just like, I don't want to do that, and then you like tune in with that, and then you're able to adjust the blueprint throughout your incarnation. Yeah, so the blueprint that you set for yourself isn't set in stone, because we have this beautiful thing called free will that so many people say like, oh, you give people amnesia and free will and it creates chaos and they take it for granted. There's so many entities that exist. Like, look at your cells. Your cells don't have free will. They are sentient beings that literally exist just to make you exist. That's all that they do. There's beings in the second dimension that literally just the energy flow. They exist with their entire being to just direct energy and go in these certain formations. And that's what geometry is. Like the legitimate geometries are like the diagrams of how energy moves. Because like when you go to like the base dimension, it's just energy is just all types of, it's like I just need structure. I need some type of, I need to be something. And then,
It's all feminine.
yeah, exactly. It's trying to like, taking this energy and then just like, I'm just going to move in a formation. I don't know why. It's your source is telling me pretty much. And then it's like, I'm in a circle now. Now I have a circle. And then this circle turns into like another circle. And then this circle creates an energy grid that then manifests something of a higher vibration of myself, which I gave birth to by being an entity of no free will that no one really gives any appreciation to. So like love yourselves, love like all the being, there's so much of that. So free will is a really powerful thing, and it also allows us to adjust our blueprint so it's not set in stone. We create our blueprint when we incarnate and throughout the incarnation. So the reason I explained all of that was to say that our passion, aka life purpose, was the stylistic expression of source that our spirit prior to incarnating felt like it resonated with the most. So what it is that you feel passionate about was your spirit, not your ego, not your construct. Your spirit was like, I dig shining shoes, painting art, giving lectures, writing books, doing retreats. I dig this. It's the shit. I want to do a whole lifetime of this stuff. So like, you set that for yourself. And the way that you come into alignment with that is that's the first step to kind of coming into alignment with the blueprint that your higher self set. So I felt I could have used more clear words there. So
do you think, and like I don't mean to like, I'm not challenging you or anything like that.
I love to be challenged.
Do you think that our souls have personality of sorts? We have certain
Yes, but not in the.
But like, my question is like, do you really think that we came in like, oh, I like art, or do you think that we came in like, oh, I am capable and willing to do this work here, like regardless of details? You know what I'm saying? Like.
Option B, regardless of details, it's not the action itself, it's the vibration that the action emits. So it's not the action that makes. That's why it doesn't matter if you're shining shoes or giving lectures in front of millions. It's the vibration. That's what our soul likes. Our soul doesn't see art. Our soul doesn't see lectures. Our soul doesn't see matter when it does that. It sees the energy behind it. And that's what it is that you attune to. And that's why to find, like basically what I said I could use clearer words here was our soul's path, blueprint, whatever that it created for ourselves. Our soul did the best that it could to give us a smooth path towards realization, to alleviate as much karma as we could in this life, to realize as much and the most efficient. That doesn't mean the most morally blissful. Like, that doesn't mean you're going to be like chilling your whole life. That probably means you're going to go through a lot of suffering in your life to do that work to then reach that level of karma alleviation and things like that. So this blueprint that our soul set for ourselves, say like, it's once you find your passion, like, let's say like someone wants to be a like an artist, let's just rock with that. Someone wants to be an artist. Then when they find their passion of art, they're going to meet this art teacher, and that art teacher is going to low-key have books on like the Kabbalion on him, and then that's going to spark him to an awakening, that's going to bring him towards a new perspective of life, that's going to let you manifest a whole like literally shit like that, like a whole blueprint. So like the first step is coming into contact with your passion, with your life purpose, and then that allows you to come into contact with the intuitive information of your blueprint that allows you to, the blueprint in and of itself was aimed at giving you the information to live the most efficient evolutionary path in this life as possible. Granted, like I said, that could change, but the one that was set prior to incarnating. So that's why passion makes magic happen, yo. Once you truly, once you align with passion, everything else comes into alignment. Not just when you acknowledge, like, oh, I know what my life purpose is, so like I'm cool, like doing it, being in the vibration, because that vibration is what attunes you to receiving that information corresponded to that vibration of pure soul ecstasy.
Because passion is kind of your essence in form, right?
Exactly. It's like one of the highest vibrations we can experience, and that's like correspondent to our higher essence. Like our soul is just this on a higher vibration. So exactly. And that's why, all higher vibrational emotions, joy, that's really more of your soul essence. Love, that is your soul essence. Like, appreciation, gratitude, these are like the highest vibrations, therefore the closest emotions to your soul. So the last thing I have in terms of this part is accessing quantum states through meditation or other means freezes your body clock. Our consciousness becomes operable in a higher vibrational plane outside of linearity. So what this means is, when you are in meditation and you access the quantum field, the pure potentiality, stillness, whatever you want to call it, when you're in a still state, you're not interwoven by your thoughts, you're detached from them, you're in a peaceful state, you are in tune, you're outside of linear time. Your consciousness is operating at a heightened frequency that is not within the same vibration of physical matter. It is, never mind, I just probably take a sip of water. So.
Can I flow onto the blueprint?
Of course, always.
I almost feel like we can break free from the blueprint in a way by just recognizing that we're limitless and everything can flow, of course, through passion, but it's with like the vibrations that like you're a master at everything. Like you don't have to.
You create your own reality.
You don't have to think like you're good at art to be like really good at art. Like you can be like there could be the next Pablo Picasso in the room right now, and like you never picked up a paintbrush before. Like whatever that would mean, like that title, and like the titles just don't matter anymore. It's just like finding the feelings, like that creative sexual energy that's all just water.
But what if it's that passion you're speaking of that brings you right back onto the original blueprint anyway?
Then that's just like the highest of what you've done before, I guess.
It's really funny that you bring that up, because that was actually the last point that I was going to get on, something very similar to that in the workshop. I'm going to do my best to talk like a mad person to get to that part, but it's basically alleviating yourself from the karmic blueprints, liberating yourself from karmic blueprints. It's like I said, I'm going to get more into that, but karma isn't set in stone. Yeah. We can create our reality. Just because you have a certain karmic background doesn't mean that you have to go through that. It does mean that there are lessons that you must embody, but it doesn't mean that you have to go through that specific path to get those lessons. We can create other paths to get those karmic lessons. We're not a slave to karma. We create karma. We create reality. We can liberate ourselves from karmic blueprints, but that's the end of that's the end. It's getting ahead of yourself. But so, it's totally all good. I'm playing with you, but yeah, the last point was basically like you are accessing a state that is beyond linear time and beyond this vibration when you're in an actual state of stillness. And this is where manifestation occurs. This is where in like reception with contact from higher beings, from higher vibrational aspects of yourself, from this is where all these types of things that are beyond this plane are accessible through just meditation. So by meditating and like truly accessing stillness states, and if you're just starting, like it helps to do a lot of the techniques. So like you've seen some of us do like throughout the event, some of y'all may be familiar with certain breathing techniques to kind of like relax you, drop you in and stuff like that. And that brings you into a state that's beyond time and it's beyond this dimension, and you're able to access more information and guidance that's relevant to your path.
I feel like since I started meditating, which was probably about a year ago, and I feel this especially more recently, I feel like I'm in a constant meditative state. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know.
It makes perfect sense. And that's actually what meditation is. Meditation isn't something you do for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's a lifestyle. You do that to integrate that being. When you're done meditating, you don't go like, oh, let me just like feed on, like, I'm saying, like, the goal is it's like the spiritual path, including meditation and these modalities, isn't a practice. These aren't practices. This is a lifestyle that has practices to align you with the lifestyle.
As many, like, I don't do like really too much ritualistic. I feel like there's ritual in almost just that connection. So like I'll go out into the water or in the woods, or and I just feel it.
That's all you need. What you're.
And I do want to learn more about like tools and other things, but it just feels like that instant connection. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
ongoing awareness of your being.
Right.
Like we said, there's no step 1, step 2, step 3. There's your steps and my steps and your steps and your steps. You might not want to do those rituals. That
doesn't mean I always say.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to get to Ascension. You know what I'm saying? It's just a modality that you may or may not be in resonance with. If you're saying that you operate with most of your life within that state of being, then you don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? If that's not if that's not something that you resonate with, if it's not something that is calling towards you, just listen to that. Listen to what that's telling you. And then one thing I will say is, if you are in that state, being mindful of how being in that meditative state increases your vibration and therefore increases the speed at which you manifest. So if you're constantly in a state of meditation, you're going to manifest things quicker.
Yes.
Good things and bad things.
Yes.
So that means being mindful and, integrating, like, that might be something that's more a part of your journey. It's like some people might be getting to the state of being in a constant state of meditation, and your path may be being in that state but learning how to cultivate it.
Mindfulness.
Yes.
Exactly. Mindful cultivation.
With your thoughts.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's about it. And then that pretty much concludes that part. So now we're going to talk about go ahead, bro.
I didn't want to interrupt, but there was a phone that had an alarm going off from 5 o'clock on, and it's like 5:10 right now. So I just want to make sure it wasn't anybody's. Brennan, there's a nice ethereal music. It sounds like just music for a while.
Oh, groovy.
I thought it was like a baby thing playing just.
Yeah, and then we're like, 5 minutes later, all having a conversation. Oh, it's an alarm.
Yeah, it was probably like honestly, I'm thinking it was Alyssa's phone for a synchronicity. Was it pink?
No, that was upstairs though.
Oh, well, it was someone's phone for an alarm. If that's your phone, go get it. If not, I'm pretty sure they're aware where their phone is. If not, it doesn't matter enough to them to be something.
Somebody didn't need to do something.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing it up. Pretty sure we're good.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah, word. So this, I'm not gonna dive too much in, but I always say that, but yeah, duality. So, understanding like the shadow side of things, or like duality, or really like what this plane really is and how we navigate within it and what it is. And essentially, with recognizing your divinity, you also come into recognizing the opposite polarity, which we also have, which is our shadows, as some call it, or it's just all just lingo. This is duality, So this is essentially like, as the positive things, or as light and as positive as you could imagine, the duality, the opposite of that is the darkness, as dark as you could imagine in comparison to the divinity. Divinity has to have a construct, or else there would be no balance. If there was no balance, there would be no experience, no conversation that we're having, no nothing. So Duality is not something bad. It's not negative. It is how we have human existence, and it is one of the biggest catalysts, the biggest catalyst for evolution of our universe, is to have it, like, source individuate itself into fractals of itself to witness different perspectives, which call forth duality to see different vantage points, to increase its spectrum of perspective to grow. That was a really out there sentence, but I'm sure it was received. But duality is a consequence of incarnating into this realm, right? So like when you get into like the higher, you're in 8th dimension, like, you know, you don't really experience duality. You know, duality is really like it's known to like this plane, this you know, specifically Earth. Earth is like a whole testing grounds. You know, Earth is a whole genetic testing grounds. All of us are genetic mutts. You know, I think they say that when like you have a whole bunch of ethnicities in your blood or something like that. We're all alien mutts. Like we have like all the aliens that you know of is in you. I'm like 99% sure. It's just a matter of like how much of like some person might have more Arcturian lineage than Anunnaki, and some people might have more Pleiadian, some people might have more avian. What happened?
No, you said Arcturian lineage, and I literally walked right.
That's
into
getting to the juicy stuff, bro.
Yeah, I know. How are you guys doing?
We chilling. Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know what's going on with Jillian's stuff.
Yeah.
Is it still like looking like 5:30?
Yeah, I actually don't know what time it is.
It's fine. I mean, like, you know, if I could take longer, bro. I could take longer if you need.
Let me touch base with her. See.
Yeah, just let me know what she says, and I'll just adjust it to, you know, I could like wrap at the end to get the rest out.
I'm good.
Because I still got some.
Yeah, awesome.
You wrap it at the end.
So multiple different lineages
To wrap it at
and
the end, like,
bloodlines
sort of felt like wrapping it.
Say one more time.
We have multiple different lineages and bloodlines.
is where you left off.
Yeah, we have multiple different, like, all of us are descendants of, we all have so much genetic stuff in us. And why? So Earth is seen as a testing ground, as I said. We're really like, it's an experiment of having higher entities, which many may call angels, come incarnate in a realm of duality to see how they interact with it. So to having the world of form, to kind of like see how they balance between the two polarities of duality, to see how these, like an Arcturian or a Pleiadian or an avian incarnates into the realm of duality and how they interact with it. Why is this relevant? Because Earth is used as a testing ground to potentially a bigger project of like maybe something called New Earth, where all these beings are realized and they are in harmony and able to live in one planet. And, you know, I said maybe, but as a spoiler, it is the case. Like that, you know, like we are essentially like they were testing to see if this whole New Earth, all these different races from all different parts of the galaxy and different dimensions and different billions of years between their evolutionary paths, like all these types of differences, can they coexist within the realm of, if they can all coexist and chill with each other in duality, when we increase the vibration, they're chilling. You know, if they could get along with, like, you know, if you could get along with somebody in the most, if you're like going through a traumatic situation with somebody and you could still like be chill with them, when y'all are just walking down the park, you're probably going to be close homies with them. So that's kind of what's happening with Earth.
It's like Earth's shadow work.
In a way, yeah. Essentially, it's like integrating it, just like understanding that and where we come from and embracing it. Like we were talking, like you were talking about earlier, and like all of us at the dinner table and stuff like that, like just integrating it. It's us. So the next thing is essentially the structure of this 3D experience is that duality is not so easy to. Duality is easy to draw out. Divinity is not as easy to draw out in terms of like you look around you. You can see a whole bunch, I mean, like, obviously, this is not a good example, this location, but walk down the street somewhere in a city or something, you're going to see a whole bunch of B10 instead of B12. You're going to see a whole bunch of duality. You're going to see a whole bunch of dehydrated mindsets. You're going to see a whole bunch of toxicity. You're going to see a whole bunch of bubkiss everywhere around you. It's so easy to spot the duality everywhere. Like, you can just, you know, you see signs, you know, it's everywhere. The duality, the negativity is everywhere. However, exactly.
Does that just came out?
Bubkiss? You know, it's my spirit really seems to like that word, man. It's a favorite of mine. I don't know. It just comes out. But it's just like it bounces. Bubkiss. Like it bounces. It feels like I'm bouncing. It feels very, very good. But so duality isn't hard to find. Divinity seems to be hard to find. Why? You know why? Well, like, that seems kind of unfair. You know, so many people when they start waking up, they're like, they see all the corruption. They start doing their research. They look at the harp. They look at the New World Order. They look at the corruption. They look at the politics. They're like, why is all this stuff so plentiful? And everything that's positive is like literally basically non-existent, it seems like. And that's because wait, did you say something? No, I didn't. But there's a reason why. Everything has its balance. And as divinity may be harder to draw out, when you achieve divinity and when you reach divinity, kind of shits on duality. Because when you operate within a state of like, here's the metaphor to understand it. So like divinity is active. Darkness or duality is passive. If you're in a dark room, I don't care how dark that room is. The room isn't going to be so dark that it turns light. But if you have a light room and you turn on, hold up, I think I got this wrong. Like if you have a dark room, you turn on a light switch. The light is active. The light changes the darkness into light. Whereas if you have a light room, the darkness isn't going to make the light go away. The light is the light. The light is active. Darkness is passive. So that's the secret. That's the key. That's why there's that big gap between why isn't UHA worldwide yet? Why didn't I grow up knowing people like this? Why did I have to like come here to see all these people? You know what I'm saying? Because the duality is more accessible. Because think about it. If the divinity was as accessible as the duality, there wouldn't be this whole cosmic dance. The divinity would just see right through the illusions of all of the divinity would see through the illusions of the duality all the time, and it would transmute it, because that's what it is. It's not getting higher than it. It's not bypassing it. It's becoming it, integrating it, transmuting it, turning it into its highest potential. So when you have a dark room, you turn on the light switch. The light switch transmutes the darkness into light. That's what we're doing. We're flipping on light switches. That's why, your souls have these certain events that typically are like alarm clocks to switch off your light switch, to wake you up, to awaken you to the divinity, to then anchor in that divinity, like we said at the very beginning, bringing source into you to emanate onto those around you. Just if you walk down, like let's say it's dark outside, if you walk with like a torch or something, you just walking around is going to bring the light everywhere and transmute the darkness. And that's what we're doing.
What did you say in the beginning? You said divinity is active and the darkness is passive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just a quick time check. You actually have more time, so you just. Yeah.
How much more time?
You did that. About 15, 20. Yeah. So
okay.
15, 20.
I can work with that.
I think it's what time is it right now?
It's 5:19.
Okay, yeah. So
5:20.
you have about 5:45-ish. And then everyone who's here, so we'll take after Brother Pleades is done, we'll take like a 5-minute break, and then grab, if you want to, grab something for the altar out there for the water offerings, and then just maybe a cushion or something. So we'll meet out by the tree. So we'll finish up here, 20-25 minutes.
You just grab what?
Just an offering, anything that you want to offer to the waters. Yeah. And yeah, so 20-25 minutes, small offering, take a break, and we'll meet you guys out. Okay?
Groovy. Okay, so light is, I already said that. So fear starts in the gut. Fear is an experience that everyone experiences. Don't matter how ascended you are, you experience fear. It's just a matter of how you react to it. Fear starts in the gut. Doesn't start in the mind, goes up to the mind via the chakras. Starts in the gut, starts in the lower chakras. That's why it starts in the gut. The first 3 chakras is where fear originates. So when you experience fear, you'll even like just uncomfortable emotions, like just like nervousness, anxiousness, just like that type of feeling. You're just like about to do something or something like that, and you just feel like this like you just don't feel good type feeling. Like, you just don't feel good. Like that right there is starting in the lower chakras. So understanding that that's energy, you can move that energy. So essentially like recognizing like when you feel that, rather than like what normally happens is that energy then starts to rise up to all your chakras into your crown chakra, and then you think that it's your mind that's making you feel that fear, but it's actually the activity of energy in your lower chakras. So essentially all you really need to do with this awareness is when that fear arises, recognize its fear, recognize you are not it. It is trying to bring you into a state of alignment that you do not resonate with, and basically be like literally talk to your fear. It's energy, it's sentience, it's consciousness. Everything is the same source, whatever you want to call it. Like you can interact with it. Recognize that fear, be like, I acknowledge you. I know what you are. I know what you are trying to do, and I do not resonate with it, and it is not welcome in my vessel. Something along those lines. It's not the words that matter. It's the energy that matters. So the intention, whatever you say. So like basically like transmuting that fear with your intention. Your intention powered by your awareness is able to manifest. So because the awareness gives it the energy. The intention is the direction. Imagine you have like a magnet. Like I got like a really strong, imagine this whole thing is like metal, something that's magnetic. And I have a little tiny magnet, right? Little tiny magnet. I'm pointed in the right direction of it. The direction is the intention, and the awareness is the fuel, the energy behind it. So like even if I have a tiny magnet and I'm pointing at the thing I'm trying to pull, it's in the right direction. Your intentions are there, but the energy to pull it, to bring that feather down to the realm of bowling balls, is your awareness. You're fueling it by emotionalizing it. If anyone here is familiar with the book Think and Grow Rich, if you haven't read it, it'll change your life. It's really great stuff. They talk about emotionalizing. Like basically emotions are energy in motion. They're just energy. All emotions are just different vibrational realms of energy. So your emotions, when you set your intentions with emotion of like higher vibrational emotions such as love, gratitude, stuff like that, joy, happiness, that's emotionalizing it. That's basically increasing the strength of this magnet so you can pull whatever you're attracting towards it. So that's like awareness and intention. And then the last thing on duality that I'm going to talk about is darkness, when hurled at light, has no effect. An entity of true light, darkness can't touch them. That's why it seems that darkness is so plentiful and light isn't as plentiful, because of how much power light is. That's what we're coming into realizing. A lot of people coming to these UHA, we're realizing that we're guardians. You're realizing that we are anchors of the light. We are pure non-distorted vessels of source consciousness. Like that sentence is ripples throughout the multiverse. Because of this, darkness can't fuck with light. The only reason why darkness ever messes with you is because you are not in a state of alignment with pure source. When you are in alignment with pure source, darkness doesn't mess with you. Like say, for example, like if someone says something to you that just like, that someone just walks up to you, you are just a smelly person. You're smelly. You just, I don't like you. And like, you're just like, I don't really resonate with that too much. I'm really excited as to see what's behind me, to be honest. Oh my goodness, I thought I saw that.
I thought it was like a piece. I was like,
It's literally adorable. Like it's so.
It's in the fireplace, isn't
It's look. Whoop. I'm a robot. I forgot. It's right over there.
and then I saw it like.
Like it's in the fire thing. It's just kind of, I don't even know how. The chimney is probably how it got it. Yo, that bat really made a journey to get there. That's pretty funny.
It's stuck in the fireplace, though.
That is true. Yo, we could probably open it.
I don't know, can it?
It can go back up, but we could also open the door to let it out if y'all are cool with a bat flying around.
We'll get a towel.
Or we can have it fly around.
Yeah, we can fly around.
That's what I'm saying.
That's so deep.
I need to.
Let's go through the presentation and see when it comes out.
Okay, let's see what it is. How about this?
If you just open the doors and let it.
That's what I'm saying. If we open it, how about this? When we're done with the workshop, we're gonna see what happens. If it's gonna, because I will say, if a bat's flying around, it probably might be a little bit distracting. So we'll wait until after. It'll be like, I know I would be. It'd be distracting for me, So
I have a question. Right? I have a question. You're talking
Beautiful.
about darkness can't touch the light, right?
Mhm.
But then what about the duality and the polarity that you were speaking of before, right? And then again, just keeping in mind that we're having a human experience, even when we ascend in this human experience, while it's still being in this body, do you not think that some of the darkness is still kind of there?
It absolutely can, but because when we are in this human incarnation, we are not pure source.
But it's what you're allowing to come through. So what you're looking for, what you are seeing out of it, because you can be presented with a dark situation and decide, I'm going to see this from a perspective of light. I'm going to see this from a perspective of growth, and this is where I'm going to take this, and it will literally crumble the darkness. That's the power that light has, and that's why when he says darkness can't fuck with you, he doesn't mean darkness won't come to you. Darkness will come to you, but it's your reaction, it's your alignment that determines what outcome comes out of it, because you have that power.
So it's not that we hold on to the duality aspects of it. We don't hold on to it. It's just simply an experience. It's a fleeting experience. They should be fleeting emotions. They should be
because think about it.
released.
It's all about how you react to them.
Last night we were talking about this. We were talking about what would it be like if you tried to keep all your joy inside, all your laughter. You'd literally explode. You have to release it. It's meant to be released. The same with sadness, with anger, with any of that. It's meant to be released. You have to let it go. That's the purpose of it. It's not here to hurt us or hold us down. It's here to help us evolve and help us ascend into that light. The
That's a part
darkness
of
is
the-
part of the process.
That's a part of the taking action that you're talking about, taking action to release the shit or
Well,
treat it.
I feel like you have to remain attached to it in a certain sense as well. Not completely, but to feel it and then to have enough detachment to it to let it go. Not to tell yourself any stories to relate to it any further than need be.
And if then
So
you
well
find
said.
yourself doing that, then acknowledge it, but then release it.
Don't shame
Having
it
the
either.
compassion
Yeah.
to be like, oh wow, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah.
Wow, I see why this made sense previously, why I did this, whether it was conditioning or if it made me feel safe or whatever. And just being like, I have new tools in my toolbox and I'm gonna use my new tools because that old tool is getting a little rusty and I'm not really feeling it no more.
Literally, all of you are so on point. Thank you, truly. I just feel like I was just teleported into reflections of myself to just talk more. That was perfect. And that literally what you said really went into what I was trying to say before the bat. And that was you're smelly, right? Someone walks up to you and says you're smelly, and then you ain't gonna feel too good, most likely, unless you like to smell bad. I don't know. Most people wouldn't feel good if you tell them that they're smelly. You're just you get that, you're smelly, but when you take a step back and recognize what it is what frame of reference you want to operate within, and you step more into the light, because if you are just walking down the street, chances are you have a good amount of duality within your vessel that you're operating within. So you are thinking about what you're going to eat and blah, 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 blah. So when you experience that, take a step back, integrate more light, step into the light, embody a perspective of source, that's when you might see that interaction without the emotional attachment of what affected you when you were not in a state of light. That was a crazy sentence, but you take a step back, you breathe, you insert more light into your vessel, you take in more light, and then that allows you to look at the situation differently and be like, you know what? Maybe he just feels sweaty and smelly, and he's just projecting it onto people. Maybe he just had a really bad day. Maybe his mom just like yelled at him or something. Who knows? Like maybe his cat just died yesterday, like, and he's just upset about it. Like, you know, like who knows? Who cares? Who knows? I know that I'm not smelly, and if I did, I wouldn't care because, you know, I smell not that terrible. Like, like, yeah, for real. Just like, you know, basically looking at it from that perspective of less duality is essentially what it is. Like, you know, that I'm trying to get at is like viewing it like when something of darkness happens to you, taking a step out of it to integrate more light into your perspective, hiring your frame of vantage point to then have more understanding, to not be as like affected by it. Because like all the suffering that exists on Earth just perpetuates evolution. As much as that may trigger people, as much as that may, all of it, all of the suffering only perpetuates the existence's evolution. So like beings of way beyond duality, higher beings, they see all the trauma and all the war and all the horrible things from a moral human perspective that's happening here, and they're just like just looking at it, you know what I'm saying? Just observing it. It's not good or bad. It is. It just is. You know, because they're not operating from a state of perspective of duality to have that distortion between how they react to it.
From like a God perspective, it's perfect, regardless of what it is.
Pretty much. Like having that heightened perspective. When you understand it, you don't get as upset over it.
Exactly. And having that idea that you have to like fix something just perpetuates the lack, you know?
Yep.
Because there's nothing.
You're like, oh, I'm broken?
Yeah,
that's what you're manifesting. I'm broken?
There's nothing to fix. You are. You just have to be.
Like anytime, like, ask Chris, yo. He channels these beings. He knows. All they talk about is like, you are literally perfect. We're so proud of you. You are incredibly strong. The power you have, we will never be able to put human words to how beautiful it is to witness. Watching you go through that, like, these are the types of things that they're constantly saying. They're not like, oh, Jimmy should have been meditating more yesterday. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they see everything from a heightened perspective of understanding of just beauty and just beauty.
Can I tell a story about that?
Of course.
So before the first UHA, I'm gonna get emotional.
We love it. We embrace it.
Yes, give us your emotion.
Chris and I were outside connecting with our S.O.U.R.C.E family, and I was having a lot of internal battle because I see all you amazing people, and I was having confidence issues, and I was like, am I gonna like fit in? Like that type of thing. As soon as I had that thought, and I asked them, I said, can you please like give me guidance here and some strength, because this is, I've never been in a retreat before, but I was like putting it on, so it was like, the whole point. As soon as I asked her that, Chris said, they're telling me that you're powerful. And I didn't verbalize any of this, was all internal. And then I told him that story. He's like, whoa. He's like, he said, they're telling me you're powerful. And then he went on, he was like getting other channels too, but that was like direct, like confirmation, and it gave me so much strength to like just be who I am and know that I'm loved no matter where I am on my journey. So when you said that he was channeling and telling people they're powerful, like on it, like he does, like that's exactly what happened. It reminded me of that.
Thank you. Exactly. Thank you for sharing that beautiful, beautiful energy and that beautiful story. It truly is just such a great example of how they're just watching over all the time. They're able to, like, you know those glasses where it's a one-way glass where you can see them, but they can't see you type of deal. And you can see them, but you have to like really clean that glass. And that's like you have to do your internal work to be able to do that. And like,
But they hear, they listen. They do.
Exactly.
You give them messages, whether you're lucky enough to have a channel or sitting there.
Exactly. Or become the channel.
Or become the channel.
Or you might see the channel to come through. It might not come through a person. Yeah, she's had Chris at her side, but like, you know that.
You said it before. Recognize that you have a phone. Like, look for the messages.
Exactly.
They're seeing,
Exactly.
hearing through your eye. They see through your eyes.
They do. They literally see through. Exactly.
Yeah.
They are just us, just older.
Yeah.
A lot older. Like, you know, billions type shit, but like, you know, they're just older us's. Yeah, so you know, I'm pretty sure we're like I'm gonna try to zip because I do want to get to the karmic thing. Like patiently diving toward manifestation is the next conversation topic, and this is essentially like you know, this one isn't too long, but essentially like the manifestation process isn't something that you can expect to happen overnight. When you set into the universe, like, you know, I'm in alignment with this path, I'm manifesting this future, I'm receiving this abundance, yada yada. Like, it always comes back to the feather and the bowling ball thing. It takes energy for that feather to come into the realm of bowling balls. So what that means is we experience, as a consequence of that energy exchange, time. Dilation. Time passing is what we experience. So like basically like with all the power right now of the universe for you to say, I'm going to attract this abundance, I'm going to live this life. If you set out that signal, we are in the realm of physical vibration. It is a dense realm. It doesn't matter how powerful it is, it's going to have to come here, and we're going to experience time as a result of it. Granted, the higher your state of consciousness, the higher realm you are operating within to meet that manifestation. So, therefore, increasing your level of vibration decreases the amount of time it takes to manifest. However, it will always take time. As long as we have these physical bodies, it will always take time. It will not be instant. Not in these bodies. When we leave these bodies, yes. Not in these bodies. It will always take time. Cultivating patience is essential for being patient with yourself along your journey, for like seeing yourself as they see us. Which, like, you know, imagine like you have like it's literally is exactly like if you had like an older brother or sister and how they would view you. Imagine if you were just like, you know, if you had like let's say if you had like a younger brother or sister or something, and let's say, you know, sibling rivalries and stuff, some people have like conflicts and stuff, but let's say you got a good relationship with your brother or sister, and they're just like, you know, you love them unconditionally is what I'm trying to say. You see them going through drug addiction or something, or they have like you know, they keep on going through this karmic cycle with like guys or girls or something like that, and you're just like, yo, sis, yo, bro, like, stop, you know what I'm saying? You're just trying to, but like, you tell them straight up, you're like, you know, heroin's bad, okay? Like, you know, like, so shit like that. Like, and then you like, they're just like, they go out and they do heroin, they didn't listen. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what it is. They're like, you know, war is bad, okay? And then they're like, we're not, you know, like, we gotta be open to receive that. If anyone gets that reference, it's South Park. Like, yeah, that's just a funny show. Very, very terrible. Very, very terrible. It's horrible, but like it's hilarious. We are all connected via a direct pipeline to our higher selves. I kind of touched on this earlier, so I'll just like briefly gaze over it. But essentially, like, our higher selves is constantly accessible to us via a spiritual antenna that's essentially like always above our crown. Like, imagine our crown has like a radio antenna that's not physical. It's like a spiritual giant antenna that's just like, you're just walking around and you've got like a radio antenna and the higher vibrations pretty much just like rocking. It's just constantly there your entire life. And that's like, you know, a metaphor to understand that we have a direct communication with higher self if we use it to communicate with that. To learn how to connect with this antenna in with spirit to receive limitless cosmic information and wisdom is the primary lessons for us to learn. So essentially, creating a conducive environment for fulfilling manifestations is tuning to that antenna and learning how it feels to tap into it. That direct pipeline of information and guidance and energy from our higher self is always accessible to us. As we progress along our journey, it's going to be easier and easier, or sometimes harder or harder, depending upon what you're experiencing, depending upon your current state of vibration, to tap into that. And as you tap into that, you're going to be getting downloads that's going to give you things like Arcturians telling you you're powerful to kind of bring you towards your next step of evolution, or tell you like, "Little, do this, do that." How we looking?
I think we're gonna maybe like 5 minutes.
Word, that's pretty good because I'm on the last one actually.
Perfect.
I've been talking pretty fast and it's been working.
And you're literally only like, for your speed, it's like 5 miles per hour.
Yeah, y'all gonna see it like later. This is like.
When I heard you're talking fast, I'm like, you're not fast.
I mean, like, I'm aware when I'm saying it. I would like to, definitely this one I rushed because I was like doing a bunch of stuff. I've been busy lately. This workshop, I tried to cram a bunch of info, but I definitely want to like have these workshops be less like we were talking about yesterday. Like just there's so much to talk about. So you know what I'm saying. You want to put it all in like as little time as you have, but like as we this is like we're getting it all out. I'm getting all the all right. Now we can like focus more. Now we can have a workshop that's like. You don't have to go to a college class and, you know what I'm saying? It could be something that's more casual, you know what I'm saying? Like more like digestible. This is definitely like the peanut butter of digestion over here. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's not very easy to digest, but like it is digestible.
It feels like the more you run through it too, it's going to become more concentrated.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is the last one. Liberating from karmic blueprints. So since the harmonic convergence, we are blessed to be in a situation where we have the opportunity to get off the road of karma and into the road that we create for ourselves. This wasn't possible in our time matrix prior to 1987. Prior to this harmonic convergence.
Oh my God. I've seen 1987 on license plates so many times and I was trying to figure out why.
Oh.
And I just realized
Take the invisible clipboard of synchronicities and write it on there in your mind. Like it's crazy. I'm for real. I really hope I remember that for next time. Like I'm really gonna bring that stuff. But essentially, in the old paradigm, your karmic path is like when you incarnated, you have a karmic path. That karmic path is like your karmic path. That is in stone. You have to go through this karma in one way, shape, or form. The astrology plays a part in the energies of the planets influencing based upon your individual karma of your birth and all types of influences of those energies. And there would be certain modalities like do certain meditations, wear certain metals, do certain certain things to kind of like alleviate that. But like we're blessed, y'all. We don't have to go through that ish. If we don't change it and we don't create a new path, then it's going to naturally happen by default. But we can create a new timeline. And like I was touching on earlier, this isn't like, this isn't bypassing it. This isn't like releasing it and going on to something totally different. This is like I said, karma only exists for a lesson. That lesson, by default, the universe orchestrates that lesson via karma. But we are co-creators of our universe, and we don't have to play the video game by the default settings. Right. We can change it. And we're able to experience that lesson from another modality. We can experience, say, like, learning how to be grateful rather than growing up with the opposite of everything you'd have to be grateful for. You're poor, you're like shitting in a rock outside or something. I don't know how you shit in a rock, but you're doing it somehow. And like, that's the type of life you're living. And like, to be able to be grateful for a toilet or something like that. But like, you could create, that could be maybe your karma. You came in, you created this karmic path for yourself via your past life actions and stuff like that. now we have the opportunity to be like, yo, I really don't want to shit on a rock. It's not possible. I've tried. I'm going to do something else. I understand that rock shitting situation had a lesson behind it, so I'm going to integrate that lesson in another way. And that's like, it sounds pretty out there, but it's really what we're capable of, truly. And like, here's like a little quote on it. When we vibrate at lower frequencies, we are fully under the grip of the law of karma. As we vibrate at higher frequencies, the grip loosens and freedom is experienced. At certain high frequency, it is possible to be completely free of karma. Prem Nirmal. So essentially, how is that? Because of the harmonic convergence. What the harmonic convergence was the beings that are the higher selves affiliated with the system of Earth, integrated the light beings into here. Just by anchoring that light alone, increase the vibration of the planet. Like the quote says, at higher frequencies, you are able to loosen yourself from the grips of karma and create a different path. And that's what we're stepping into, is seeing all the old paradigms, seeing all the old way that things were done, and doing it differently. It's not like, oh, we're going to fix the government system. We're going to fix the education system. We're going to create an education system. We're going to create a government. We're going to create all these types of things. It's creating a whole different path. So the individuals that are like, I think someone said earlier, like, it's not about trying to fix things. Like, not about fixing things. It's about creating. If you're fixing something, you're fueling it.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just fueling it. You're fueling your energy towards it and stuff like that.
Want it to continue to happen, and it's also weaker now.
Exactly.
It persists.
Yes.
Exactly. What you resist persists. And like, this is so relevant to like today's world, 2020, with the corona and the child trafficking and all that type of stuff. And like it's not to disacknowledge that it's happening. It's to basically dedicate your awareness towards something that is benefiting it.
Right.
Like genuinely actually benefiting it, rather than like, obviously, like, that being said, that's within our spirit, that information, and like, I'm not going to get too much into this, but there's a lot of manipulation behind the media, and they know that we want to participate in things, so they make us think that we're participating in things by posting a black square that's actually part of a massive ritual where they siphon our energy and shit like that. Like, it's you elevate your frequency and you don't have to live that karmic stuff, is what I'm trying to say. So now, as a result of the heightened vibration of the planet, you are able to be born with a karmic blueprint and free yourself from it, creating your desired reality while still gaining the lessons that karma had to teach you. You embed yourself with passion and truth and move forward out of the karmic groove and into the energy that you create with pure intent. So essentially, if you pop out of the karmic groove and manifest the life that you want for yourself, you are, as a natural byproduct, going to receive the lessons the karma had to give you. I'm going to say that in different words. If you were born with a karmic path of shitting on a rock, and then you live this incarnation and create for yourself, fueled by truth and passion, the intentions are important. Fueled by truth and passion with pure intention, you create a new path for yourself that alleviates yourself from that karmic path. You are then going to not have to experience that timeline, and as that timeline branches off, because you branched off into a new one, that branches off, and then the lesson from it is a byproduct.
Right.
So you get the lesson. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was saying that it feels like the increased vibration takes some of the gravitational pull out of the cause and effect of karma, and kind of gives us more of an opportunity to move and create a path. So it kind of takes us out of the bowling ball and kind of going towards the feather, which like creates an easier circumstance to carve a path out versus having to carve it in rock and perpetually shit on that rock. But
Exactly, bro. It's like looking at things quantum rather than Newtonian. You know, like scientifically, like looking at things rather than like the bowling ball, look at it as a feather, rather than the karma, look at it as the path that you want to create for yourself.
Say it, yes.
Yeah, so essentially, like, that's what we're here to do. We're here to alleviate ourselves from these karmic paths, from these karmic blueprints, via utilizing these resources, via tapping into Source, receiving this information that is giving us all the guidance, all the information, all the wisdom, everything that we need is constantly being sent to us, and then it's a matter of like integrating this stuff within our life to be receptive to that. Being aware of it is the first step. So like as a basic run over, like there are no paths to ascension. If there were to be a single step, if there were to be any steps, it would just be begin. That's it. Just start. There is no end. I'm pretty sure you're all familiar. There is no destination, just a journey. By the time you get to the destination, there's more journey. You know what I'm saying? It's about the journey. It's about the it's about the journey. Integrating these principles and using them as context is something that can be relevant towards aligning with this energy. So this energy, I'm trying to look at different ways for forming that sentence, but it's the same thing that I've been saying, is that this energy is constantly accessible to us, and being aware of it is allowing us to act in harmony with it. This intentional state of being is how we anchor in the light. Anchoring in the light is like the core of just participating in ascension, is anchoring in light. All you need to do is anchor in light, become love, become your highest potential, become the highest reflection that you would like to see, become the change that you want to see in the world, create the solution rather than fuel the problem. So this event, and many like it, are essentially accelerating this process. And that's what we're all here to do. That's what we're all literally here physically at UHA to do, is anchor in these frequencies, anchor in these codes and activations, and allow this energy to flow. And that's why a lot of people here, besides the whole euphoric, giddy, we feel high and stuff like that when we're around each other because we're in these blissful high frequencies, and beyond and beyond that, more synchronicities. Right. Yo, I'm gonna just say it, while you're here, do some meditation, some manifestation meditations, and because you're literally just in a higher frequency in this room. Rather than exactly.
It happens so much quicker. It's way easier to move through a river with a paddle than it is with your hands in a boat, right? So right now you're basically hovering above the water, not in the water.
If you want this, by the way, you're done.
So it's so much easier to see things clearly, feel the higher vibrations, see the feather, connect with the feather, and then experience the feather, right? Even maybe before you leave, you might see some feathers.
Yo,
The
I definitely.
exponential multiplication of our energy field is going to create a deeper sense of being able to manifest that light and plant seeds.
Right, which then ripples from here everywhere to Tara, to Gaia, to Earth. The whole thing.
We're gonna take advantage of that and maybe do a focused, intentional something together. Maybe not.
Potentially yes. Not right this moment because we do want to. Yeah. I hear you. I think that's a great idea. Actually, is finding a space. Maybe in our circle tonight. Say as a collective, let's sit in a circle and meditate for world peace, or even just anchoring in higher frequencies.
Yeah, something that I found really efficient is oming for world peace. Oming while we're we've been oming together the whole time, and then now placing the intention. I think you said yesterday during the sound healing and stuff like that, specific intentions while accessing these heightened states of consciousness and stuff like that allows you to manifest it quicker. Right. So I definitely feel that would be powerful. We could do many different things. Definitely at least some a couple alms for world peace. The world deserves some alms every once in a while,
Even besides world peace, because that's even just hearing myself say that, it's still fitting into the paradigm that there's a problem to be fixed. So maybe instead of world peace, again speaking to my own, what I just said is thinking about how beautiful it is to be our authentic selves and a high vibration, right? For all beings to experience that.
Exactly. That reminds me of y'all familiar with? Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. You sure? I can remember.
Yeah, and after that.
I was just gonna say real quick if I gotta wrap it up, fuck it. Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza. He has this. I think I was telling someone here about this recently. It's he's the ish. If y'all don't know Joe Dispenza, he's the ish. Go on Gaia or something. He's on YouTube. He's on literally everywhere to search his name. He is, and he knows his stuff. And one thing that he would talk about that I remember him talking about in his healings was piggybacking on what you were saying about rather than there's a problem to be fixed. Essentially when he would perform healings, right? Literally, like, just like, imagine Joe Dispenza sitting here in front of all y'all, and all y'all like, yo, my leg hurts. Like, yo, I got a back problem. Yo, like, I got emotional distress in me. And then, like, you know, he's just like, you know, he'll just like literally go in, access the state of pure potentiality, call upon source consciousness to infiltrate and penetrate his vessel to allow him to channel, and it's literally just meditating. Like, I'm using all these words to kind of like paint pictures like I do, but like it's just meditating and like accessing stillness. And then he'll literally just like say, and like I was saying earlier with the magnet, and like, you know, you have a manifestation. If you have the direction of it, that's bueno, but like you have to like have the emotion behind it to actually pull it and stuff like that. So
learn how to focus your chi. Where do you want to
focusing your chi through your intention and your awareness. That's what Joe Dispenza would talk about. He wouldn't use these words, but he would do like, he would literally look at a crowd and he would just like go inside and he would be like, you have never been in a state of more pure harmony. Your cells are in better health than they have ever been. You are happier than you have ever experienced in your life. The experience of euphoria is beyond what you have ever experienced that you are right now having. Like, he would literally say things like that. Like what we were talking about earlier, it's not about wanting something. He's not like, oh, you know, like, you are going to be healed. He's saying, you're healed, bruh. You're healed now. And then you're bringing that into fruition through the intention powered by the awareness behind it.
Also, because attention. Sorry. I bet we're jamming on the same thing. The feather is your is the optimal state of being. You're focusing on that feather. It's calling the healing in. But yeah,
where attention goes,
energy flows.
Yes, I can't believe that didn't come up at some point in this time. But like, I'm glad you brought it in. That's what it was. Yeah. And on that note.
Not to cut this short, but thank you honestly.
You know, that was pretty much it. Really, we're gonna all go outside and we're gonna get our offerings and stuff and do this really groovy activation. But before y'all leave, I will say I'm pretty sure y'all already acknowledged that like I put these things here. You know, you don't have to take the business card or whatever. We could all connect. It's optional. But I did put on the thing about the S.O.U.R.C.E Gathering. In the case that we don't like, if I don't personally connect with everyone and I don't remember to plug you in with the S.O.U.R.C.E page, the S.O.U.R.C.E Instagram is circled here. And like what we're doing here is a lot of the work. Like imagine like a UHA weekend in like 10, 12 hours. That's basically what we're doing. It's like we're jamming all the events and stuff like here. We have like you know, a whole bunch of stuff happening very quickly all at the same time. So like it's literally just like a place to just receive a whole bunch. It's completely free. It's in New Brunswick. The address, the time, the date, it's all on this little paper. If you even want, I'm pretty sure like, you know, not many people want it. You can even take this paper, put it in your pocket. You know, there's two of them, one there, one here. And and you know, it has the S.O.U.R.C.E page, S.O.U.R.C.E Gatherings. We're in New Brunswick right now. Like that's where the next one is. It's on August 29th. So yeah, definitely. Like if y'all want to do that, and I think I said it at the beginning. Service providers, whatever, you can go on the S.O.U.R.C.E website. Well, it's actually on Pleiades.com/source or whatever, but it's all in the S.O.U.R.C.E page. You go to the S.O.U.R.C.E page. Click the bio. It's all there. Just follow us on Instagram. You'll have literally everything. The flyers there. I was going to hand them out, but we didn't have time before I came here. But yeah, I appreciate y'all ineffably for being open to receive this blurging of cosmic information and integrating this. All that did not go through the conscious veil of your mind is integrated, like Alyssa said earlier, into your vessel and into your heart. Your soul remembers everything. You might, for the rest of this week, be integrating, for a month, to be integrating the information of these workshops, of this event.
You really will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I experienced it from last time. You know, we all did. Like, you know, it's, thank you all so much for being here. And, like, y'all, I'm on stage later tonight, so I'll see y'all for some music. I'm going to talk even faster, believe it or not. What happened? Yeah, I was totally about to take the mic off to do that.
You're coming down, right?
Alright, bro. Wait, hold up. I don't want to break his very expensive microphone.
Cushion and something to put on an altar. That's going to be coming up for the next time.
We're meeting out by the tree, out with Jilly.
When?
Now. Yeah. So, yep.
I feel like we do it in different ways.
Bad medicine?
Just whatever you feel called to, yeah. It doesn't have to be personal, no.
Yeah. Or
It's just really anything that you feel called to offer to the water.
You think a towel maybe?
Yeah, it could be a stick. So,
Maybe that pillow, like I can like.
alright, what's the game
Are
plan,
we just
guys?
opening the door?
I don't know. We
Having
were gonna
friends
say
way
just
out?
open the door and let it fly out, or just like get it
platform for the flow.
Okay, well, yeah, now you for the intention to set up a platform for the flow.
Thank you for being the source that allowed me to manifest the intention because it is.
Thank you for being the source.
That's basically what I said, but less words.
By the way, come over here really quickly. Quick and easy.